The Susanoo is the third power of the Mangekyo Sharingan, a chakra avatar that acts as both the ultimate defense and a tool for mass destruction. It starts as a ribcage, moves to a skeletal frame, puts on some muscle and skin, gets armored up, and eventually hits the complete body or Perfect Susanoo stage, where it sprouts legs and wings. Speaking of the Perfect Susanoo, the first guy to ever do it was Hagoromo Otsutsuki, and the scale here is genuinely insane. In Naruto Shippuden episode 468, we saw Hagoromo manifest this light blue Susanoo standing eye to eye with the 10 tails. For context, most perfect Susanoos are roughly the size of a standard tailed beast, like Kurama, which is usually around 200 to 400 meters, depending on how many tails are flying around. But Hagoromo's version was on par with the Jubi itself, which is estimated to be around 1,000 meters tall. It's basically the difference between a normal person and a skyscraper-sized kaiju. He was able to deflect a tailed beast ball from the 10 tails with zero problems, and because he was an Otsutsuki, he didn't have to deal with the "my eyes are bleeding" or "every cell in my body is on fire" side effects that the Uchiha have to suffer through. To me, this implies that the Susanoo we see in the modern era are basically diluted versions of Hagoromo's. His own son Indra also used the complete body form to trade blows with Ashura's wood-style avatar, but even then, it wasn't able to overcome it. Having said that, if you're talking about the guy who actually made the world fear the Susanoo, it's Madara Uchiha. Madara's Perfect Susanoo is the baseline for what we call large mountain tear destruction. If you look at manga chapter 589, Madara unsheathes a blade and the resulting air pressure, not even the sword itself, pulverizes 2 mountain peaks. His Susanoo is basically a walking nuclear apocalypse. He was so proficient with it that he could manifest a humanoid version without even having eyes in his eye sockets, which is just ridiculous, but when you're Madara, the rules don't really apply. He could also create wood clones that each had their own Susanoo, which led to one of the coldest lines ever said.
Would you prefer for all of these clones to use Susanoo against you or not? The choice is yours.
Now, while Madara relied on brute force and size, Itachi relied on hacks instead. Itachi's Susanoo is technically incomplete because it never manifests legs or wings in the manga canon, but it compensates by carrying 2 of the most broken items in the franchise. In chapter 392, Itachi revealed the Yadamir and the Totsuka blade. Zetsu stated that this made him functionally invincible. The Yadamira isn't just a shield. It can change its elemental nature to negate any attack, physical or spiritual, that hits it. Meanwhile, the Totsuka blade is a spirit sword that seals anything it pierces into a world of eternal drunken dreams. It's like trying to play rock paper scissors against someone who can change their hand after they see yours. It's a pseudo version of Damon's reflection per se. Brute force means nothing if your attack hits the shield, which, by the way, is omnidirectional. Now, speaking of broken jutsus, Kakashi's also falls into that category, specifically the dual Mangekyo Sharingan version of him. Technically, this was a temporary buff because Obito's spirit literally did a wireless transfer of sword from the afterlife, but while it lasted, it was one of the most broken Susanoos we've ever seen. In chapter 689, I believe Kakashi manifests the light blue Perfect Susanoo with a vertical scar over its left eye. Its unique ability is the Kamui Shuriken. These shurikens are huge, of course, and they don't just cut the person, they warp whatever they touch into the Kamui dimension. If you get hit, you're partially or entirely removed from this reality. So yeah, Kamui infused into the Perfect Susanoo. Very overpowered. Now, as for Sasuke, which I'm sure most people have been looking forward to, his Susanoo was more so about raw power more than anything else. Yes, he could use his power with his Susanoo just like everyone else can, but it wasn't as integrated as, let's say, the Kamui Shuriken, nor was it as unique when compared to Itachi's Susanoo weapons. It was more so like Madara's, where he was just a walking tank that could also exert incredible amounts of power. The one special feature of Sasuke Susano is that the second stage gives him a bow and arrow, which he incorporates into his attacks with Amaterasu. I presume this is because Sasuke fancied the bow and arrow as a child, and since the Susanoo reflects the soul, it simply manifested as one of his weapons. Now Sasuke and Madara were also capable of using the majestic attire Susanoo, which is pretty much just the body of the Susanoo being used as a cloak for another entity, usually the Ninetales. Though it isn't merely a shield for the Ninetales, the energy is combined into one, and the resulting power output is insane. Now Sasuke did take this a bit further with the Biju infused Susanoo. This isn't just the regular perfect Susanoo, it's what happens when you combine the power of the Tail Beast with the Susanoo as a vessel. In chapter 696, we see this form in action. It's a stabilized avatar where the armor is reduced to show the humanoid inside, with lightning constantly arcing off its back. This of course is the form that fired Indra's-Arrow, the strongest offensive move in Sasuke's arsenal. The clash between this weapon and Naruto's Six Paths Ultra Big Ball Rasen Shuriken produced an explosion that could be felt across the entire continent and reach the stratosphere. Kurama even remarked that Sasuke's control in this state rivaled the Sage of Six Paths himself. This to me implies that in terms of raw concentrated firepower, the Biju Chakra-infused Susanoo is likely the strongest version of the Susanoo so far, likely surpassing that of Hagoromo's. Now we do have other Susanoo that are not exactly manga canon. These were created for the game continuity, but these ideas did come from the mind of Kishimoto, so if they were to exist in the mainline continuity, this is what they would be. The first one I want to touch on is that of Shisui. His Susanoo is a completely different beast compared to Madara's. It's not about broad destruction, it's about precision and speed. Its primary weapon is a flaming drill-like sword called the Hurricane Blade. He's able to launch chakra-infused needles to overwhelm his opponents at a distance, which is kind of a reflection of his fighting style in the game more so than in the anime, but it still makes sense. Also, I do remember people spamming this ability in the Storm games. It was really annoying, by the way. If you ever got caught by this drill with 0 subs, just know that it's over. Now speaking of overpowered, there's also a guy named Merz. For context, Merz is the main villain of Storm Connections, and he uses an artificial Sharingan and ninja tech to pull off feats that should be impossible. He's able to manifest the red complete body Susanoo that was described as enormous. It actually dwarfed Sasuke's perfect Susanoo in pure height, which means it also dwarfed Naruto's Nine Tails chakra mode. He could also maintain the form itself without the typical ocular side effects because he was siphoning massive amounts of chakra from the entire shinobi world. It also featured dark flames on its back that resembled tails, which is a visual nod to the tail beast, of course, whose power he's basically mimicking. It's like seeing a modded version of a character that has all the stat sliders pushed to 100. It's huge, it's red, and for some reason, it can fend off a majestic attire Susanoo from Naruto and Sasuke at the same time. Granted, they were very low on chakras, so it's not for some reason, that is the reason. So if we were to rank these Susanoos, Sasuke's Biju infused Susanoo is still the king of raw offensive power. Firing a bolt of lightning that shakes a continent is a feat no one else has matched so far. But in terms of unbeatable hacks, I give that to Itachi. It doesn't matter how strong you aren't bypassing the Yada mirror. And he also has a one-hit seal weapon as well, so I don't know, he does seem a bit invincible. Now that is it for this video. If you guys liked it, drop a like. If you're new, subscribe, and also check out my video ranking the 25 most overpowered eyes in anime, or maybe this one that explains every single Otsutsuki in Naruto and Boruto. And with that said, I'll see you guys soon. Peace.